Okay, I'm gonna try and make a quick video here. Haven't made a video in a couple of days. We're still here in Cagayan de Oro, and a lot's happened. I got really sick, but before I get to that, I just want to kind of back up a little bit. I don't know, I may have touched on this in a different video, but I just want to kind of set the stage for kind of where we're at, you know, not emotionally, but just where we're at in our minds with Cagayan de Oro, after having just come from Valencia, where we got ripped off almost everywhere we turned. Yeah, not by a lot of money, but just, you know, the hotel scam, the tricycle scams, you know, it just everywhere we turned. And so we got here to Cagayan de Oro, and as we're getting off the bus, the bus driver hands us a slip and says, if you want your bags, you got to give me 100 pesos, which we've never had to pay for bags. It's included in the price of your bus ticket. And you know, not a big deal. It's 100 pesos, so it's like $2, or maybe even a little less than $2, but it's just the principle of it. You know, just because, you know, he sees me, he figures he's gonna give me the white guy tax, or the long nose tax as they call it here, you know, and put me through the work. So in order to get my bags off the bus, he's gonna squeeze me a little bit. So whatever. My wife was a lot more upset than I was. You know, a couple of dollars, it is what it is. You know, we're in the Philippines. So he told me that the bus wouldn't stop until the other side of the river, and little do I know, the bus went right in front of our hotel. So we got off in the blistering heat, of course, you know, 90 some degrees, and we wheeled our bags, 2 bags each, you know, the whole way to our hotel, which, you know, we could have taken a taxi and, you know, dealt with it that way, but we just decided it was close enough, a couple of blocks, that we would walk. So we checked in, and we wanted to go find out, well, actually it was Friday night, I started to feel something in the back of my throat, and I knew I was going to get sick. I have that feeling whenever I've got that before, I'm going to get sick. It always settles in my sinuses, you know. So I started taking vitamin C, which, that's another thing. If you come to the Philippines, make sure you bring vitamins with you. Vitamins are very difficult to get here, and they're outrageously expensive. Same thing with Tylenol, same thing with, you know, aspirin or ibuprofen. Bring a few bottles of Pepto-Bismol. These things just are not easy to get here, and whenever you find them, they're really expensive, you know. So I knew I was gonna get sick, so the next day I just I could barely move. So we get into a taxi. We're trying to find a boat that goes over to Bohol, and we're told by the hotel folks that there's a boat that goes every evening. Weekdays it leaves, she said it leaves around 7. Weekends it doesn't leave till 10 p.m. And you can buy tickets either down at the dock, and you can buy advance tickets, or you can go to the Gaisano Mall. So we get a taxi, we get down to the docks, and they point over to this little shed. I mean, I can't even believe it's a business. You know, it's just a garage door and a little shed, and it's like, this is where you're supposed to buy the tickets. Well, it was 11:45 or 11:50 something. It wasn't even noon yet, and they had the door down, and they said, close for lunch. We'll open up in an hour at 1 o'clock. Well, you can't just sit there in the blistering heat on the side of the street for an hour. So he said, okay, well, let's try it at the mall. So we get to the mall, and of course we asked the taxi driver to turn on the meter before we get in, because we've learned that lesson before. And we get to the mall, and then the taxi driver tries, you know, my wife gives him the money and a tip, and the taxi driver tries telling us that the initial 40 pesos that starts isn't included. And my wife's like, what are you talking about? You know, this isn't the first taxi we've ever taken before. The money starts climbing up on the meter from the 40 that started. So, but in order to make him shut up and go away, we have to give him a few extra pesos, on top of the tip that we already gave the guy. So, and I'm not feeling good at this point. I'm actually feeling really bad. And so nobody knows in the mall where you're supposed to buy these tickets. We get launched from one end of the building to the other, back and forth. Everybody's helpful because even when they don't know, they know. It's just down here. Oh, gate 3. Oh, over here. And you're just walking around this mall aimlessly looking for something that seemingly doesn't exist. So after probably a half an hour and talking to a dozen different people, we finally find this little gated, again, about the size of a bathroom. And it doesn't even say shipping, it says Philippine Airlines on it. But they're the ones that sell the tickets. So, and they're quite expensive actually. We get the tickets, and they're looking on the tickets, and it stops at like 4 or 5 ports before you get to Bohol, or at least Tagbilaran, where we were headed to. And there's no air conditioning. The only thing left is like standing room only. But she said if you get your ticket and then somebody backs out, then you can upgrade on the day. Otherwise, it doesn't go every day. It's only Tuesdays and Thursdays. Oh, and by the way, Thursday's booked also. So what are you going to do? It's too close to fly, so we just buy the tickets hoping that we'll be able to upgrade and that somebody will back out. So we come back and we tell the guy, we explain to the guy, the taxi driver, exactly where we want to go. He takes us the whole way on the other side of the river and dumps us in front of a different bus stop. And claims he doesn't know where the bus station is after we explain to him, that there's Mang Inasal here, there's Jollibee here, our hotel. We explained all this stuff to him. And you mean to tell me that the guy is driving taxi in Cagayan de Oro and doesn't realize that there's more than one bus station? But the one he took us to was further away, so we had to pay him, and then we had to flag down another taxi and pay him to come all the way back to where our hotel is. And then I got, like I said, with the pills, we stopped at the drugstore. You don't buy a bottle of aspirin, you buy a single aspirin at so many pesos each. You don't buy Sudafed, a pack of Sudafed. You buy a single Sudafed at so many pesos each. So we had some ibuprofen with us. I bought a few Sudafed, or not Sudafed, it's whatever they do for sinuses. Who knows what it is? I have no idea till now what it is. And the aspirin that they give me is 80 milligrams, which I don't know off the top of my head, but that sounds like a baby aspirin back home, because I can remember, I'll take like a Tylenol and I'll take like a 1200 and I'll take 2 of them. So I didn't figure it would do anything too bad, but I figured it would help a little bit. And sick as I've ever been, and I don't know what it is. I was hoping it wasn't malaria or something, because I did get bitten by a bunch of mosquitoes whenever I was down in Davao. So I don't know. I took a bunch of vitamin C. I took 800 milligrams of ibuprofen. I took the pills that they gave me, and then it messed me up, like really bad. I got dizzy. I couldn't stand up, but I couldn't lay down. So I would stand up for like a few minutes, and then I would lay down. And then I couldn't stay laying down because of the dizziness, so I'd have to stand back up. And I did this for hours, and I was sweating like so bad, bubbles of sweat all over me. I couldn't take it. I was burning up. And then 15 minutes later, I'm stripping down to my underwear because I'm freezing so bad. And so it was like that all night long, hours and hours like that. So I prayed. My wife prayed. We prayed like we never prayed before. I reached out to our daughter, asked her to pray. And, you know, I started to get worried a little bit because I don't know how the hospital is here, and we don't know anybody here. And, you know, the thoughts of getting on that boat with no air conditioning and just standing room only, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what, you know, what was, I didn't know what to do. And so then I woke up this morning, and it wasn't too bad, you know, far from being healthy again. But, you know, none of the dizziness, none of the weird. So I think that the pills had some kind of adverse reaction with each other. I still got a plugged nose. I still got the sinus pressure and everything, but I feel much better. So we decided we're going to go back to Angeles City, where I know that I can trust the hospitals. There are a lot of Americans and other Westerners there. We don't get ripped off as much there. We have been ripped off, but you know, it just seems like we can trust the people there a little bit better. Again, nothing against. I'm not trying to label all the people as bad here. I think that 99% of the people here are good. It's just we've had some pretty bad experiences. We had wonderful experiences when we were in Davao, but we have a really bad taste in our mouth from Valencia, and not such a great taste in our mouth from Cagayan de Oro. And again, just my experience, just my wife's experience. You know, I know there's plenty of other people, that there's Westerners that even live here, and they love the place, so I'm just speaking about my experience alone. And just like I told my wife, a lot of that is shaded by the fact that I got sick. You know, and when you're sick, you have like gray colored glasses on, and everything seems worse than it is, and you can't think. So we decided to cancel the boat because it says on the paperwork that we can cancel it for 50 pesos per ticket. So we went back to the mall today to get a refund. And when we went back to the mall, not only did they charge us 50 pesos a piece, but there's an unwritten fee that ended up being, was it 300 a piece?
No, almost, yeah, it's about 300.
So it was 300 plus the 50, so it ended up being 700 pesos, like $12 or whatever, to get a refund. And again, that's not written down anywhere. So for all I know, you know, she just put that money right into her pocket. And because we've been ripped off so much, I can say that, you know, like, and it's not fair to her if there is some unwritten fee somewhere, but why would you post the $50 fee and not post the unwritten $300 fee or 300 peso fee, you know? So there's just so much here that's, you know, not on the up and up, and I don't feel comfortable here. My wife don't feel comfortable here, so we booked a plane ticket at an outrageous amount of money because it's so quick. And God willing, tomorrow we're going to get on a plane and go back to Clark. You know, and we'll take it from there. That way, you know, if I end up getting worse, or if I have to go to the hospital or I have to go to the doctor, I can trust what's going on there, you know. And again, you know, I'm not saying that the hospital isn't good here. It could be. You know, I saw that they have like a heart and liver wing, you know, so perhaps they do some good surgery here, you know, and stuff like that. But just, you know, based on everything and the experience that I have, you know, you know, my wife doesn't like it here. She doesn't feel safe here. We get bombarded everywhere we go with indigent people, you know. And I told her, because like she starts to get upset about it, and you know, but how do you get upset at people that are poor? you know, like really poor, you know, like dirty poor, you know, ribs hanging out poor, you know, and these precious little kids. You know, there was a girl today that was carrying this baby, and this baby looked like it was inches away from dying. You know, there's snot coming out of the baby's nose. It looks emaciated, and this girl couldn't have been more than 11 or 12 years old, is basically holding this baby by the neck, you know, and the baby's covered in dirt, and the kids are all covered in dirt. And my wife told me that the parents send them out like that, because if they're carrying around a baby that looks like that, then there's a better chance that people are going to give them money. You know, and it's heartbreaking, because you can't help everybody. By God's grace, we've been able to help quite a few people here, and you know, without patting ourselves on the back or anything, you know, we wish we could do more, but you know, it's you have to stiffen up a little bit, because you just can't save the world, and there's a country full of people like that are struggling, you know, and that's why you know, I'm not complaining so loud about getting ripped off a couple of dollars here and there, but you have to understand that, you know, it kind of gets old after a while, because you're walking around and you're trying to protect your, you know, the money that you have in your pocket. You got to carry a bag in the front of you instead of the back, because pickpockets and this riding in tandem, where you have somebody that rides on the back of the bike and will come up and, you know, cut the bag and rip it right off your back. You know, change scams. You know, you hand them one bill and they say they got a different one, and you just have to be on your toes all the time. You know, and you might say, well, you know, America's not all that safe. Well, you're right. You know, and I would agree with you. You know, you have some of these same things that go on in American cities, and I'll be honest with you. I've never been so comfortable whenever I'm in American cities. You know, and as a retired police officer, I've had to work in some of these cities, and after dark, you know, with shootings and everything else, like I'll be the first to tell you, it's not safe in a lot of American cities, and especially certain neighborhoods in American cities. You don't go out there after dark. You know, and in some cases, if you're talking about it like that, there's places here that are much more safer, that I've felt much more safer than I have in cities back home, and especially here in the provinces. You know, many of the provinces I feel completely safe in. You know, and if you talk to Filipinos, they'll tell you the same thing. Like, the air quality's better, the people are more friendly, the prices are cheaper. You know, my wife says it all the time. You know, with the people that are struggling in these squatters areas in different places over here in the cities, like, go back to your province. You know, go back to your province. You can grow food there. People will help you there. You can actually have a little bit better standard of living there. You know, if you can't find a job, you know, and not everybody can find a job here in the cities, you know. So there is more opportunity, but if you came here and you tried to get it and you couldn't make it, and you're destitute and you're stuck on the side of the street just begging somebody for some rice or something like that, just, you know, go back to your province. You know, get a hold of your people, have them, you know, scrape some money up to get you a bus ticket and go home. So anyways, that's it for the video. I just wanted to record a couple of things before I forget about them. You know, I do believe in the power of prayer. You know, and it's who knows what happened, whether it's from the mosquito bite. I hope it's not malaria or something like that. I'm pretty confident it's not COVID, because I've been vaccinated umpteen times, first of all, but second of all, I never lost my taste or anything like that. I don't know, it could have been something I ate. You know, I didn't get diarrhea this time. I wasn't throwing up. But, you know, there's some bug that I caught that my body wasn't used to, and it hit me. And it hit me bad. It was a really rough night. I know it's been years since I've been that sick, you know. And, you know, when you're in a foreign land and you're not feeling like you can trust everybody, and you don't know about the hospital or the health care, you know, and my wife's from the Philippines, but she's not from this area, and she doesn't trust the people here, and she doesn't like the area here. You know, it can be a little bit scary, you know. So, all right, that's it for this video. Hopefully I'll feel well enough to get this video and some of the other ones I took when we first got here. I did take a quick video of the gym that we worked out in here, which, you know, I liked it. You know, you had to kind of go light. You know, it was a lot of homemade equipment, you know, and but you know, you can get a workout wherever you go, you know. But you know, this experience has definitely humbled me, and maybe that's what the Lord was trying to teach me through this is, you know, He's in control, and I need to recognize that more and more, you know, as I get older. You know, you got to be careful and not put them to the test. You know, I've been very careful with what I've eaten while I've been here, and I started to drink like soft drinks and iced tea at the restaurants that we go to, because I was told that they're using service water, which service water is bottled and filtered. So I actually started by, I wasn't going to touch any of that stuff, but then I started, you know, sipping on some of the Halo Halo that my wife would get, and it didn't bother me. You know, it didn't bother me at all. And then I started thinking, well, the ice that they use in that is from ice cubes that are frozen from the service water. You know, and then a couple different places we were at, I started drinking the water out of those filtered jugs just like the locals do, and it didn't bother me. You know, and so then the natural progression is, okay, well, we'll start trying some, you know, soft drinks here and there and some iced tea at the restaurants here and there. And again, it doesn't seem like it's bothered me. I don't think that, you know, I picked something up from the water, because typically when that happens, you either get diarrhea or you're vomiting, you know, or something. At least that's what's happened to me in the past. And no vomiting, no diarrhea or anything, just all head stuff, you know, dizziness, headaches, sweating, freezing, fever behavior. And so I don't know, like I said, I felt a little bit better today. I would say compared to last night, I'm 100% better, because I can move around and talk. I wouldn't be able to do anything, you know, for, you know, all day yesterday. So yeah, so hopefully, God willing, I get another night's sleep, and, you know, I'll feel better tomorrow. So take care.